First one is purpose. Second is procedure. Third is stage. Fourth is number of times. That is, how many times the court commissioner can be appointed. Now, dealing with the first subheading, what is the purpose of appointing the court commissioner? The object of Order 26, Rule 9 is certainly not to assist a party to collect the evidence, which the party can get the evidence itself. That is, court commissioner has to be appointed only because of the need to hold the local investigation at the spot. Say, for example, it could be for the purpose of demarcating, you see, the boundaries of the land. This is not appointment of the court commissioner is not some kind of tool to create evidence in favor of a party. It is a peculiarity of the evidence which can be had only at the spot. It is then that the court commissioner has to be appointed. Some decisions which I want to bring to the kind notice of my viewers are, first one is reported in AIR 1989, Orissa 118. AIR 1989, Orissa 118. Para 4 of the said decision reads like this. The object of Order 26, Rule 9 CPC is not to assist a party to collect evidence where it can get the evidence itself. The object is for elucidating any matter in dispute by the local investigation at the spot. Where on the evidence of experts on record, the court is satisfied that for appreciating the opinion of the expert evidence, it should appoint the court commissioner. Then the next decision is reported in 2016 for Madhya Pradesh Law Journal on page 210, Indur bench. The relevant portion of in para 14 is, it is settled law that the petitioner has to establish his case by way of evidence. The provision of appointing commission, even under Order 26 Rule 9, cannot be used to collect the evidence. Then there is a reference to the Honorable Supreme Court decision. The Honorable Supreme Court has also considered the scope of Order 26 Rule 9 and held that the said provisions are to be invoked only if the controversy is regarding demarcation of the land between the parties. Para 21 and 21 read like this. In view of the law laid down in the above judgments, it is settled law that the commission can be appointed only in case of demarcation and encroachment. The issue of possession is to be decided only on the basis of evidence. You cannot have the court commissioner appointed so as to find out who is in possession of the property. That falls strictly within the domain of the courts only. In view of the law laid down, it is clear that the purpose of Order 26 Rule 9 is not to collect the evidence which can be taken during the proceeding of the suit in the court. Then 2019 SCC Online, Himachal Pradesh 1034. 2019 SCC Online, HP 1034. I'll straight away take you to para 10. Para 10 of the Himachal Pradesh decision. Order 26 Rule 9 of the Code inter alia provides that in any suit in which the court deems a local investigation to be requisite or proper for the purpose of elucidating any matter in dispute, the court may issue a commission to such person as it thinks fit, directing him to make such investigation and to report thereon to the court. Meaning thereby that it has to be the satisfaction of the court that a local investigation is necessary or proper for the purpose of elucidating any matter in dispute. This provision is not a tool which is to be permitted to be used by the parties concerned to create evidence in their favor. Nextly, I'll take you to 2018 second volume Maharashtra Law Journal, 2018 volume 2 Maharashtra Law Journal, page 255. Fairly settled that the court commissioner cannot be appointed for the purpose of collection of evidence, and the impugned order of the trial court is exactly against settled position of law, and that is why it is required to be set aside. Para 14, it is made clear further. Hence, the machinery of the court cannot be used for the purpose of collecting evidence in order to enable the respondent plaintiffs to prove the facts on the basis of which they are claiming the relief of interim injunction. Then 2010 Karnataka 897. Incidentally, it happens to be my decision only. It is like this. I repeat to see the citation particulars. 2010 1 AR Karnataka R800. Its equivalent is ILR 2010 Karnataka 897. ILR 2010 Karnataka 897. The object of the local inspection is not so much to collect the evidence which can be taken in the court, but to obtain evidence which from its very peculiar nature can be had at the spot. When there are conflicting versions regarding the location of the suit schedule property, no amount of oral and documentary evidence may enable the trial court to adjudicate the matter. Then I'll also draw the attention of the viewers to Kerala High Court Division Bench judgment reported in 1966 SCC Online, Kerala 103. 1966 SCC Online, Kerala 103. The object of the local investigation under Order 26, Rule 9 of CPC, as stated in case so and so, is not so much to collect evidence which can be taken in the court, but to obtain evidence which from its very peculiar nature can only be had at the spot. Order 26, Rule 9 of CPC invests the court with a discretion in passing an order for the issue of a commission and does not provide for the presence of both the parties where the order for issuance of a commission is passed. Now, whether both parties are to be notified beforehand is an issue which I will deal with that a little later. Then yet another decision is reported in ILR 2002 Karnataka 3599. ILR 2002 Karnataka 3599. The need to resort to Order 26, Rule 9 ought to be felt by the court for the purpose of elucidating certain details, which in its opinion can neither be had from the records nor can be produced by the parties by way of oral and documentary evidence. The details required by the court ought to be such that in their absence, demarcation of issues in the dispute cannot be effectively adjudicated upon, necessitating the appointment of the commissioner on its own or at the instance of either of the parties. where the court is of the opinion that the matters in dispute could be effectively adjudicated upon by having resort to the evidence available on record, the court at its discretion can refuse to appoint the commissioner. In case on hand, the court below on more than one occasion referred to the sufficiency of evidence on record for deciding the rival claims of the parties. When the court itself is of the view that elucidation of any matter is not required for the purpose of deciding the case, the order passed by it rejecting IA number so and so filed for the appointment of the commissioner cannot be found fault with. That is, the sum and substance of this order is the court must form the considered view that the commissioner is required to be appointed. There are some gaps, there are some inconsistencies, and based on the records, the matter cannot be adjudicated effectively. The voluminous evidence, both oral and documentary, may not be of any conclusive assistance for the court. It is in such a case that the court has to first form the view that it is requisite, it is proper to appoint the court commissioner, and then pass the orders. Now, in one case,
it's coming.
Hello? In one case, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, you're audible, sir. Perfectly audible.
Okay. In one case, although the court commissioner was required to be appointed, trial court, took the view that if it appoints the court commissioner will decide everything. What is there for the court to decide? It amounts to abdicating, the court's responsibilities. It amounts to delegating the work. It amounts to the work devolving on the court commissioner, and that is why I will not appoint the court commissioner. And this reasoning is rightly found to be erroneous by our High Court. The decision to that effect is found in AIR 1970, Mysore 314. AIR 1970, Mysore 314. I'll read, the operative portion of the order. Whether the defendants have effected any improvement has to be tried by the court on the evidence adduced by the parties. That the decision on this material issue can never be left to the commissioner, and that the court cannot delegate any of its judicial functions to the commissioner. The erroneous view taken by the learned civil judge that the appointment of the commissioner for local investigation as to the particulars of the alleged improvements and the value thereof would amount to abdication or delegation of powers of the court. The learned civil judge declined to exercise his jurisdiction to appoint a court commissioner. Such a failure to exercise jurisdiction justifies interference in the revision. As you know, court commissioner's report is not final. Parties have the opportunity to examine the court commissioner. They can cross-examine, they can assail the report, they can discredit the report. Ultimately, it is for the trial court to decide its probative value, to decide its evidentiary value, to decide what weightage is to be given to the report. If it is completely discredited, that report itself can be discarded. But on the ground that appointing the court commissioner would curtail, the powers of the trial court, rejecting, the application is not sustainable. Then, if the encroachment is alleged, it is very difficult to decide based only on the oral evidence of the parties in a given factual matrix. And the need to appoint the court commissioner, if it is felt genuinely by the trial court commissioner has to be appointed. This issue is dealt at some length by Madras High Court, which is reported in AIR 2004, Madras 419. EIR 2004, Madras 419. Para 17 of the decision, it is like this. This court wonders as to why the plaintiff has not resorted to file an application, nor even the defendants thought of making it. As a result of which, the courts have to arrive at their own conclusions based on the paltry means inadequate, paltry evidence placed on the record. And therefore, since the best of the evidence in a case of this nature could have been obtained only by the appointment of the commissioner and ascertainment of the extent of the lands in possession and enjoyment of each party to the contest. Unless somebody goes to the surveyor or some authorized person goes to the spot and measures what is the land in possession of a party, what is the extent of the land. The extent of the encroachment cannot be adjudicated at all. In a suit for injunction, where the encroachment of property and the boundaries of property are in dispute, the appointment of the court commissioner is fully justified. This is reported in 2002, volume 1, Civil Law Journal, page 329. If there is some complaint of the identity of the land, or there is some boundary dispute, it can be resolved only by appointing the court commissioner. In that regard, 3 important decisions are reported. First is 2004, 1 Maharashtra Law Journal, 138, 2004, 1, that is first volume, Maharashtra Law Journal, page 138. Para 28 of the decision, I am reading only the relevant portion for want of time. The appointment of city surveyor or cadastral surveyor for taking joint measure of the property owned by the plaintiff and the defendant for the purpose of local investigation under Order 26, Rule 9 of the CPC becomes relevant. Then next edition is 1999, 3 Karnataka Law Journal, page 359. Para 9 of this edition reads as follows. However, I find that in case of identity of the property, the best way to appoint the commissioner, I find the commissioner is not appointed in this case for really finding out the identity of the property as complained of by the parties. In case of this nature, appointment of a commissioner is a must. The court goes to the extent of saying that it is not desirable or desirable, but it is a must. It's a must, and the court, in my opinion, must compel the parties to appoint the court commissioner. And even the court can unilaterally appoint the commissioner to have a clear report on the location of the property so that the complaint of identity be solved without any problem or difficulty. It says court should call upon both the parties to agree. If the parties do not agree, if there is some understanding reached between the plaintiff's advocate and defendant's advocate, both of them do not want to see the court commissioner, even then, court can do that suo motu, even in the wake of opposition from both the sides. If the court forms the view that the complaint of identity can be resolved only by appointing the court commissioner. That is why it has very specifically said, expressly said, the court can unilaterally appoint the commissioner. Next is EIR 1968, Kerala, page 28. EIR 1968, Kerala, page 28. Paragraph number 7 and 8 are relevant for our purpose. Orders 26 Rule 9 of the CPC invest the court with a discretion in passing an order for the issuance of commission and does not provide for the presence of both the parties when the order for the issuance of commission is passed. There may be cases where the object of the issue of commission itself will be lost by ordering notice to the defendant before passing the order for the issuance of commission. In emergent cases, it is necessary for the court to pass an order issuing commission without ordering notice to the defendant also. An order for the issue of commission for local investigation without issuance of notice under Order 26 Rule 9 cannot be characterized as without jurisdiction. Para 8, that this is only a possible view is also clear from the working of Order 26, Rule 18 of the CPC, which insists on the notice to the parties to appear in person or by their agents or the pleader in the property at the time of investigation. Notice to the parties is made compulsory only before the investigation is done by the commissioner. If necessary, we are prepared to hold, mark these words, if we are prepared to hold that under Order 26 Rule 9, it is open to the court to pass an ex parte order for the issuance of a commission for investigation, even before the defendant has entered appearance. If the court finds that issuing the notice to the defendant may unnecessarily result in the delay, avoidable delay, and in the meanwhile, defendant may do something which would put the plaintiff to irreparable loss. Court can appoint the commissioner even without ordering notice to the defendant, but only with one rider, that the commissioner has to issue notice to both the parties to be present on such and such date, at such and such place, at such and such time. That's all. But for appointing the court commissioner, it need not wait till the defendant appears. The next question that falls for our consideration is whether the court can appoint the commissioner, say for the purpose of ascertaining the market value or calculating the liabilities or finding out the commission or royalty payable on a coal mining lease. In one case, this is reported in EIR 1952, Patna 271. EIR 1952, Patna 271. The court has virtually, the trial court virtually abandoned its duty, its function of calculating the liabilities of the defendant. Everything it gave to the commissioner in the form of instructions. This is not permissible. First, I'll read out what was the instruction given by the court, and then what was the view taken by a Patna High Court, that is reported in 1952, Patna 271. The instructions given to the commissioner read as follows. The plaintiff shall get the dues on account of the royalties and commission according to the terms. For certain years, the rate was reduced and the rate was to increase if price varied. The commissioner shall take evidence on that point and see valuation of the various kinds of coal and calculate the liabilities with reference to the rates as agreed by the parties by the lease and agreement, the details of which are noted in the plaint, and they are admitted by the defendant side. So the commissioner will calculate the price and calculate the liabilities with reference to the rates prevailing. He has to ascertain the prevailing rate, and he will ascertain whether the rates went up or is down. That is, whether you see there was any increase or decline. This was the instruction given to the court commissioner. Patna High Court said, it is clear from the passage quoted above that the judge has delegated a judicial function to the commissioner, in that he has left it to the commissioner to determine the prevailing rate and decide whether the plaintiffs are entitled to claim commission at the reduced or increased rate. Adjudicating cannot be delegated to the court commissioner. This is all about to see the purpose. For what purpose he is to be appointed, for what purpose the court commissioner is not to be appointed. Now we'll go to the next subheading of the procedure. If it were live face-to-face interaction, I would have posed the question to my friends. The question should be, is it necessary to examine, to mark the commissioner's report as an exhibit? You have to ask that question for yourself. Whether the commissioner's report is to be marked as an exhibit. And if it is not marked as an exhibit, can it be used in the course of argument? The answer is, with reference to sub-rule 2 of rule 10 of order 26. It is not necessary to mark the commissioner's report as one of the exhibits. First thing, not necessary. It forms part of the court record. If there are no objections to the report, if the court commissioner is not called upon to be present for examination or cross-examination, if his report is not discarded, not assailed, if both the parties have in effect accepted, the report, they have not made any endeavor for the rejection of the report, then it forms part of the court record. Without the report being marked as an exhibit, the document can be relied upon by the trial court for the purpose of adjudicating this matter. Sub-rule 2 of rule 10 reads like this. The report of the commissioner and the evidence taken by him, but not evidence without the report, shall be the evidence in the suit. The report itself would constitute the material in the suit and shall form part of the record. It forms part of the record. But the court, or with the permission of the court, any of the parties to the suit may examine the commissioner personally in the open court, touching on any matters referred to him or mentioned in his report, or as to his report, or as the manner in which he has made the investigation.
What is it, Gautam?
Hello? No.
The screen is not showing here in the...
No. We are perfectly good.
Okay. Now, the decision in that regard is reported in ILR 2008, Karnataka 1840. report and deposition to be evidence in the suit. The report of the commissioner shall be evidence in the suit and shall form part of the record. But the court, or with the permission of the court, any of the parties to suit may examine the commissioner personally in open court, touching any of the matters referred to him or mentioned in his report, or as to the report, or as to the manner in which he has made the investigation. If the party is successful in discrediting the entire report or a portion of the report in respect of which he has grievance, the court in its discretion may reject the report of the commissioner. If the report is rejected in total, it is open to the parties to have one more commissioner appointed for the same purpose, without marking the commissioner's report as exhibit. Without the commissioner being examined in the case, the said commissioner's report can be taken as evidence in the case. Now the next question is it necessary for the trial court to notify both the parties of the appointment of the court commissioner? It could be on the basis of the application made by the plaintiff side, or that power may have been exercised suo motu. The question that I have for you is whether both the parties are to be notified beforehand. That is, before passing the order, whether both the parties are required to be heard, one. Second, that is the allied question, is whether both the parties are required to be present, whether they are to be called upon to be present on the spot at the time of local investigation. There's nothing is in the statute to show that the presence of both the parties is required. In an appropriate case, it is permissible for the trial court to pass an order appointing the court commissioner even in the absence of the defendant. Or defendant appears, he makes an application, plaintiff's side does not turn up at all. The court can order, you see, the appointment of the commissioner on the basis of the application is by the defendant. But all that is required is both the parties are to be called upon to be present on the spot. Though the statute does not require it, the principles of natural justice require. That is why the court commissioner, if not the trial court itself, the court commissioner has to notify the parties of the date, time, and place of his local inspection. If an authority is required for this, see, then you find it in AR 1938 Nagpur 530. I'll read out, you see, the relevant portion, but the entire order does not bear, you see, the paragraph numbers. It is on, the judgment starts on page 530. This portion is on page 532. I read out only the relevant portion. It is true, Order 26, Rule 9, leaves the matter to the discretion of the courts and does not provide for the presence of the parties when the commission is issued. But natural justice requires that such acts should not be done behind the back of the parties. Such acts, the reference is to the local investigation and the preparation of the report based thereon. They are to be done in the presence of both the parties. They are the, as per you see, the requirements of the principles of natural justice. Whenever an application is filed, what should see the order on this application state invariably? Because this is a question not so much for the learned advocates, it is for, you see, the trial judges. Invariably, their order has to say that the local investigation is requisite or proper. There has to be judicial satisfaction. Judicial satisfaction to the effect that the local investigation is requisite or proper. That is, the application for the appointment of the court commissioner cannot be mechanically or casually accepted or rejected. There has to be clearly, the order has to be reflective of one thing, and that is, it has to show that the judicial satisfaction that the local investigation is requisite or proper. If the decision is required for this proposition, you find it in AR 1988 Orissa 30. AR 1988 Orissa 30. Page 30. Para 9 of the said decision reads as follows. Normally, writ is to be issued to a commissioner for the local investigation to appreciate the evidence already recorded. There may be departures from the normal rule for issuance of commission. For illustration, where evidence is necessary to know the depth of the water in a particular season, or a commissioner can be deputed even though the evidence has not been recorded. Where it is to be found as to which plot the disputed land lies, a writ can be issued to any person to relay the same, even though no evidence is required, if the court finds that the parties themselves cannot produce the evidence to that effect. Since issue a writ to a person for local investigation would depend upon the facts and circumstances of each case, no hard and fast rule can be laid down. This much can be said, that the basic prerequisite for the issuance of a writ is the satisfaction of the court that a local investigation is requisite or proper. The trial court's order has to reflect, has to show that it has applied its mind. It is not decided in a rote manner, and it has to contain this, its satisfaction that local investigation is requisite or proper. Then the next question is whether the commissioner's report is evidence per se. You have to ask this, pose this question to yourself. Whether the commissioner's report is the evidence per se. That is, commissioner's report is not accompanied by, say, the evidentiary statement of anybody on the spot. Just the report is filed. He is not, he doesn't turn up for, for being examined or cross-examined. Does it, form, the evidence? The answer is found in the decision reported in AR 1996, Madras 148. Relevant portions are in para 7 of the decision. In my view, as noticed in the judgment placed before me, it is not that a mere lapse in any report which necessitates the automatic appointment of a further commissioner. This is on account of the fact that per se, a commissioner's report is not an evidence. Per se, commissioner's report is not an evidence. And this is a well accepted proposition of law. The court, which is concerned with the adjudication of issue before it, is the best judge to decide the need or necessity to appoint a commissioner, and that too when it is asked for the second time. If the court is satisfied with the interest is satisfied with the request, in the interest of justice to both the parties, it can always proceed to set in a given case at the given stage within the framework of its powers as envisaged in the core. It means that once the court commissioner is appointed and he gives a report, that the report is not accompanied by anything, and the trial judge finds that it is deficient, it is inadequate, it is inaccurate, it is faulty, whatever, then one of the parties may say, please appoint a second court commissioner, or the court itself may form the opinion that for the purpose of local investigation, one commissioner was appointed. His report is scanty, faulty, deficient, inadequate, whatever. So if it is in the interest of both the parties, and if the court forms the view that it is required in the ends of justice, it can appoint the second court commissioner. Then what is the great weightage which is given to be the commissioner's report? If it is accompanied by proper documents, the statements of the parties, or you see the other person present on the spot, depending on whether it is besmirched, that is whether it is disproved or discredited, the court can rely on the report and arrive at right findings. This view is reiterated by the Supreme Court in its decision reported in 2001, 6-volume, SCC 238. The position is laid in para 12 of the Honorable Supreme Court decision. The report of the commissioner could only be an aid to the trial court in arriving at its findings. The report of the commissioner could only be an aid to the trial court in arriving at its findings. Then, next question is whether the court commissioner can be appointed in the first appeal by the first appellate court. Are you under the impression that it's only the trial court which is invested with the power to appoint the court commissioner, and the first appellate court cannot appoint the court commissioner at all? The answer is, in an appropriate case, if the requirements for the appointment of the court commissioner are made out, the ingredients are made out, the court commissioner can be appointed even by the first appellate court. The decision to support what I have stated is found in ILR 2016 KAR 5571. Friends, I have two more subheadings, but I'm afraid we are running out of time. I do not know how much more time I have.
Sir, unlimited. Absolutely no problem.
No problem, because it can go on till 8:15, 8:20, 8:30.
Absolutely no problem, sir.
Okay. Now, the third subheading is the stage. At what stage you make the application for the appointment of the court commissioner? The Rule 9 itself is silent on the stage, meaning it can be filed at any stage. But few things which are to be kept in mind are, it should not be deliberately filed at a belated stage. For example, parties stand the trial, evidence recording is over, argument is yet to begin, or argument has begun in the course of the argument. somebody comes out with that application. No, I want the court commissioner to be appointed. Or he may have come out, you see, with that application only to fill in lacuna in his evidence. Such applications are not to be encouraged. Then, is it permissible to make an application even before the commencement of evidence recording? It depends on the facts and circumstances of each case. For example, the depth of a water no amount of oral evidence can, you see, come to the rescue of any party. To know what is the depth of the water in a particular season, rainy season, what is the depth? Winter season, what is the depth? Summer, what is the depth? Only the court commissioner has to be appointed. And for this purpose, the court commissioner can be appointed even before the commencement of the evidence by the parties. Appointing the court commissioner for such a purpose cannot be said to be for the purpose of collecting evidence, because that evidence cannot be, you see, given in the witness box. It has to be collected only from the spot. For this is for the argument that, you see, there should not be any application for the appointment of the court commissioner belatedly. Two decisions which are reported are AIR 2004, Karnataka 92. I will not read, you see, the relevant portion for want of time. You'll find, you see, the relevant portions in para 2 of this decision. AIR 2004, Karnataka 92. So first thing is, it should not be to abuse the process of law and delay the proceedings. Second thing is, court commissioner can be appointed even before the commencement of the evidence. The best example I gave you was, you see, for measuring the depth of the water in the soil during different seasons. Then next question is whether the court commissioner can be appointed after the evidence recording is complete. On the conclusion of the trial, whether the court commissioner can be appointed. Yes, why not? Once again, it depends on the facts and circumstances of each case. If the court thinks that there is so much of evidence, voluminous evidence, it enables me, it assists me to deliver, you see, the conclusion, the findings, he need not appoint the court commissioner. But the voluminous evidence may not be enabling the trial judge to come to the conclusion this way or that way. So he needs the court commissioner's report to appreciate the evidence, in which case he can appoint the court commissioner even after the exercise of the evidence recording. Even when that process is over, trial is over, he can, you see, still appoint, you see, the court commissioner, which would enable him to appreciate the evidence which is already placed on record. And for this, the decision is found in AR 2004, Uttarakhand, that is Uttaranchal 30, page 30. Para 6 of the Uttaranchal High Court decision reads as follows. So far as the power to appoint the advocate commissioner under Order 26, Rule 9 of CPC is concerned, in any stage of the suit where the court deems a local investigation to be requisite or proper for the purpose of elucidating any matter in dispute. The court may issue commission to such person as it thinks fit, directing him to make such investigation and to report thereon to the court. The next question that we have for our consideration is whether the court commissioner can be appointed in the execution proceedings. Because we all know execution court cannot go beyond, the judgment, the execution of which is sought before it. Whether the execution court, in the execution proceedings, can appoint, the court commissioner. The legal opinion could be divided, but a very balanced view is taken by Gujarat, by Assam High Court, by Guwahati High Court, in its decision reported in 2018 3 Guwahati law reports. 2018, volume 3, Guwahati law reports, page 668. It has said, Guwahati court has said, High Court has said, the court commissioner can be appointed even in execution proceedings if it is necessary to uphold that decree, to see that the trial court's decree has is to be enforced properly, to uphold it, and further to ensure that it is correctly executed. That judgment and decree has to be correctly executed. For its correct execution, if the court commissioner is required, you appoint him. The execution court can also appoint him. Para 20 of the said decision reads as follows. To appoint a court commission for the purpose of elucidating the truth and as such, for the limited purpose. Therefore, in the opinion of this court, the execution court can go behind the decree for the said limited purpose to find out from the pleadings or evidence or by appointing a commission under the provisions of Order 26, Rule 9 to ensure that not only the decree is upheld, but at the same time, the decree is correctly executed. To ensure that the decree is upheld and to ensure that the decree is correctly executed, not incorrectly, correctly executed, court may appoint the commissioner. The last subheading is how many times the court commissioner can be appointed. In a given factual matrix, property is the same, parties are the same. Plaintiff has filed the IA for the appointment of the court commissioner and he is already appointed, and report is submitted. He is examined, cross-examined. Then the defendant files a suit, fresh suit, in respect of the same property against the plaintiff in the first case. That is, in the second case, plaintiff becomes a defendant. The defendant in the first suit, that is a plaintiff in the second suit, he makes one more application, whether such an application can be entertained. It can't be entertained. Parties are the same, property is the same, and commissioner is already appointed, report is submitted, report is examined. It's open to the court to club, both the suit. That is, a desirable, advisable course. But he cannot persuade the court with any rate of success that one more commissioner be appointed because it's a fresh case. The decision, you see, for this proposition is found in 2004 2 Law Journal 236 Madras. I'm reading the head note. Plea that with respect to the same property, Advocate Commissioner was appointed in another suit, and he visited the property and filed his report and plan. Nothing remains to be elicited by the Advocate Commissioner due to failure by the lower court to assign proper reason. Held appointing a new commissioner is not proper, and the order is set aside. Then the next question is whether the very same commissioner can be reissued the warrant. Can he be again called upon to see submit to see the report? Same commissioner. Just think over what is to be done. The request is not for the appointment of the second court commissioner. The request is only for reissuance of the warrant to the same commissioner. Is that, you see, permissible? Please ponder over for a while. The answer is in the affirmative. If there is some gray area in which, you see, the clarification is required, the same commissioner can be reissued with a warrant to investigate the additional thing, supplementary thing, or clarificatory thing, and submit the report thereon to the court. The supporting decision can be found in 2004 second Law Weekly 230. I'm sorry. It is reported in 2016, 5th volume, Law Weekly 403. I'll read out the relevant part of para 10. It is to be noted that there should be sufficient basis and justification for reappointment of the Advocate Commissioner, and such appointment cannot be sought for as a matter of course, and that too to achieve the ulterior motive or object. This court is of the view that in the facts and circumstances of the case, there is need to order reissue of the Commissioner's warrant for effective adjudication of the matter. And such a prayer by the petitioner's defendants cannot be construed to be one with the ulterior motive or object. If there is no ulterior motive or object, and if the court is forming the opinion, forming the view that it is required for effective adjudication of the dispute, it can, you see, call upon the same commissioner to once again go to the spot and submit the report. There is no legal impediment in doing so. Once again, I'll confront you with this question, whether it is permissible for the court to appoint a second commissioner, second court commissioner. The answer is a qualified yes and qualified no. Second court commissioner can be appointed, but only when the trial court delivers a finding that the report of the first commissioner is not acceptable, and it rejects it, either on its own or based on the examination, cross-examination, assessment of, the report by the advocates, parties. It forms the view that this report is something which cannot be accepted. It can reject. It has to make an order. Please note this point. And without rendering a finding that the earlier commissioner's report is unsatisfactory, a new commissioner cannot be appointed. If the report filed by one commissioner, it is on the file, it is not discredited, it is not disproven, just for the fancy of it or at the pressing insistence of the parties or the learned advocates, without rendering the finding that the earlier report is unsatisfactory, the trial court cannot appoint a second court commissioner. This is what the Madras High Court has said in the decision reported in AIR 2006, NOC 1146. AIR 2006, NOC 1146, Madras. Appointment of the second commissioner. Court cannot appoint second commissioner unless it renders a finding that earlier commissioner's report is unsatisfactory. Now, the next question is, the parties point out some discrepancies in the report of the commissioner. Based on the allegations of discrepancies in the report, whether the second court commissioner can be appointed. The answer is decidedly in the negative. A second court commissioner cannot be appointed only because some parties are pointing out the discrepancies. There could be some minor discrepancies, or it may have arisen from, say, typographical errors. The question is, unless the parties or the learned advocates, they pessimist that report, disprove that report, they convince the court that it is liable to be discarded, that report, or that part of the report is to be discarded. There is no question of the second court commissioner being appointed. There are instances where, in some cases, no objections are filed to the report of the commissioner. He is not examined, not cross-examined, nothing is said about the report. But after some time, coolly one more application is filed for the appointment of the court commissioner. Such applications are only liable to be rejected. The supporting decision is in the AIR 2005, NOC 140. So this is from Andhra Pradesh High Court. To AIR 2005, NOC 140. In the instant case, no objections have been filed by either party, and the same had remained as part of the records. Neither of the parties requested the court below to examine the commissioner by raising objections on his report, nor the court below recorded any reason to arrive at conclusion that the report of the said commissioner was not satisfactory upon the examination of the commissioner on its own. Order of the trial court allowing the appointment of the second commissioner on only ground of allegations of discrepancies in the report in the absence of any material showing that those discrepancies was liable to be set aside. Now, in the absence of any of these things also, a second commission can also be appointed. If the court itself forms the view, considered view, that it is in the interest of both parties, a second commissioner can be appointed without any technicalities. No hard and fast rule can be laid for the appointment of the second court commissioner. without there being any request. If the court itself comes to the considered conclusion that one more, report is required, which would be in the best interest of both the parties, it can still appoint by exercising its discretion. It is reported in 1995 to CTC 553. Its equivalent is AIR 1996, Madras 148. If the court is satisfied in the interest of justice to both the parties, the words are in the interest of justice to both the parties, in the interest of justice to both the parties, it can always proceed to act in a given case at the given stage. It can appoint the second commissioner. But same thing, that is appointing the second court commissioner can't be done ordinarily. Please mark my words. This qualification is required. Normally, it is not to be resorted to. Ordinarily, this has to be resorted. This is only in the rarest of the rare circumstances that to do justice to both the parties, the second commissioner can be appointed. Friends, this is what I have to say on order 26, rule 9. Now I am open to the questions. If you have any questions, I would make my humble endeavor to clarify them. I think the moderator will note the questions. Gautam, come note the questions. Have you noted the questions? Have you noted the questions?
They will post out the questions, sir, on live, sir. Orally, they will post out the questions.
Directly
Yes.
to me?
Yes.
All right. I think now, see, there is provision for you to put the questions to me directly.
Yes,
Kindly feel free to put the question.
Yes, sir. Before that, I must thank you for rendering such a magnificent lecture on a subject which you called dry, and you took that so-called dry subject and converted it to one of the most interesting in such a way that I can see not a single person is blinking their eye, and the room is full. Out of 100, it never came down below 90. That's the kind of disciplined students you have before you today. And one small mistake I committed, I thought my camera was switched off and I was sipping the tea. Somebody reminded me and I immediately switched off. Normally I wouldn't do it. So thank you, sir. Thank you for giving this wonderful lecture. And I'm sure that you will be, unless claim copyright, part with the notes you prepared for the benefit of the audience.
That's certainly, Basraj. I would share it. I would share it with all the advocate friends and judicial officers friends.
Such exhaustive note on subject I never anticipated. That much I. So, dear friends, I'm going to unmute all of you. So you can ask the questions generally on the subject which His Lordship spoke. Do not say that in my case it happened in a matter pending before the High Court, Civil Court and all. You frame a particular question and pose it to the learned speaker. He would be able to answer it. Only 1 second. I'm going to unmute all of you so that you can ask the questions directly to the speaker. Only 1 second to unmute all. Mute all. Okay. I have allowed you to unmute yourself. You can unmute and ask the questions. Or if you cannot unmute, you raise the hand so that I can unmute you. Yeah, Mr. Nadaf, you can ask the questions. He's the same Nadaf.
Yes, sir.
Timber. Yeah, you can ask the question.
Sir, namaskara, sir.
He was my colleague.
Sir, namaskara. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, yes.
Sir, my question is on the last decisions of my lords. Wherein my lord said normally the court cannot resort to appoint second commissioner. normally courts shall not resort to appoint second court commissioner. My question is, if the court comes satisfied that the proceedings were not correctly carried out by the commissioner, and you, in the absence of both the parties having any objections for that, if the proceedings are not properly conducted by the commissioner, can the court appoint further second commissioner, or can reissue the warrant to the commissioner for executing the commission works?
Some more clarification is required from your end. Nadaf,
Please.
Nadaf, it is like this.
Please.
If the first commissioner's report is assailed, difficulty.
Yes, sir.
Or the first commissioner's report is satisfactory. It is found to be satisfactory. But on some issue, further clarification is required. Some supplementary local investigation is required. He can reissue the warrant to the same commissioner and ask him to go to the spot and submit the report on that. One.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Secondly, if the report of the commissioner is rejected, then second commissioner can be appointed. There is no legal impediment at all. And as far as your allied question is concerned, without rejecting, the first report. This is how I have understood your question. Correct me if I am wrong. Without discarding the first report, without giving any fresh instructions to the earlier commissioner, a second commissioner can be appointed. The answer is, in majority of the cases, no. This the last decision which I cited, it is in the rarest of the rare cases where the court forms the view, unmistakable view, unambiguous view, that to do justice to both the parties, this is what is required. Then there is no impediment. There is no impediment.
Sir, my question is, sir, whether can the court exercise power under Rule 3, sir? Sub-Rule 3 of Rule 10. Sub-Rule 3 of Rule 10. In the event the court is this set commissioner. Under Rule 3.
It is permissible.
Rule 3. Under Sub-Rule 3 of Rule 10.
No, whether it reads like this: commissioner may be examined in person.
Please, my lord.
When the court is for any reason dissatisfied with the proceedings of the commissioner, it may direct such further inquiry to be made as it shall think fit. Meaning,
yes,
if his, as I told you, his report is deficient, is inadequate, or there are some gaps in the report, or it suffers some ambiguity, then this second commissioner can always be appointed. But the trial judge has to pass an order for these reasons, 1, 2, 3, for the reasons to be recorded in writing. The first report has to be discarded, rejected, and then the fresh commissioner has to be appointed.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Rajeshwar, sir. Heli.
Yes. Sir, good evening.
Very
My
good evening,
question
Rajeshwar.
is,
How are you?
Sir, all well, sir. How are you, sir?
Nice to see you. Nice to see you once again.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
in spite,
Rajeshwar idare, Vijay Kumar sir idare.
I'm not. Where is Vijay?
Vijay illa idaralla. Vijay Kumar.
I'm here, sir. I'm here, sir.
Where is Vijay? I'm not seeing Vijay here. Radha is there. Sudarshan is there. Basuraj. Then where is Vijay?
Vijay ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕತ್ಲೆನಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Yes, I'm sorry.
video on ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ.
ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
Now I can see Vijay. Yes.
The dilemma for any lawyer is that if you file it.
1 second, Rajeshwar. 1 second.
Yes.
Rajeshwar. Rajeshwar is where is Rajeshwar?
Easier.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇತ್ತು ನೋಡಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ Rajeshwar.
He's here.
He's here.
Sir,
Yes,
keeps on changing sometimes. The location keeps on changing sometimes.
Yeah.
So, ಅದು ಏನೋ
And I am not tech savvy, as you are.
the location of the participant.
I must tell you, it is Rajeshwar, you see, who persuaded me to purchase a computer. Otherwise, I was against that. I still remember it was at his, you see, pressing insistence that, you see, I had to acquire, you see, a computer way back in 94, 95.
Yes. Sir. So the dilemma for any lawyer is if you file an application before commencement of evidence, that application is likely to be rejected on the ground that is amounts to collecting evidence. And if you file an application after the conclusion of evidence, they will say,
they say you have come at belated stage and rejected.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is a very good question. And see, Rajeshwar, I have a very, very concrete suggestion for you in that regard.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If I gave you some example, that is, the depth of the water, you see, in a particular season, you can make such an application even before the commencement of evidence recording.
Yes,
If it is not, for one such, you see, reasons or factors, then as you said, trial court, you see, has to say this application is premature. And you make the application after, you see, the closure of the evidence recording, trial court will say it is, you see, you're just delaying it, you're come at the belated stage. This is really the dilemma of the advocates. For that, my suggestion, I have a suggestion, Rajeshwar. The suggestion is, you make an application and you say, if the court thinks that, you see, this is premature, then you see, don't dismiss it, keep it pending until you see evidence recording is over. This is one option. Second option is, court may reject it, because if the court thinks that it should not keep any application pending, court may reject that application, but with a request, with a liberty to you to make similar application, if need be, at the time of, you see, at appropriate time, at a little later stage.
Yes.
So I think whenever you make an application before the commencement of the evidence recording, you have to request the court, depending on, you see, the body language of the judge, or you see the inclination of the court, you have to say, yeah, if your honors are not inclined to entertain this application at this stage, reserve the liberty to me to file one such application at appropriate stage. Then you see, the trial judge may permit you to withdraw that application with the liberty to institute one more application. Or he may say, this application I reject it for the time being, but this will not preclude you from coming out with one more application at appropriate stage.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other question?
Sir, one of the questions on the group chat, sir. There's one question on the group chat. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
A bit louder.
A bit more loudly, Gautam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So one of the questions on the group chat was whether the commissioner can be appointed to look into the adverse possession.
Mr. Bobby has this question.
There are very clear decisions to that effect. When I said the court commissioner cannot be appointed to find out who is in possession, it also means adverse possession. Court commissioner cannot be given that mission to find out who is in possession. Adverse possession is also for possession only. So the court commissioner cannot be appointed for that purpose.
Anything else? Please raise your hand.
Because finding out as to who is in possession is, you see, the function only of the court.
Court commissioner.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Any other question?
Sir.
Okay, Mr. Nadaf, tell me.
Sir, the only question is, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
You are audible.
Sir, my question is, sir, under Order 39, Rule 7, sir, under Order 39, Rule 7, there is a provision at the time of granting some interim orders. There is a provision for local inspection. Whether it is the same as which is provided under Order 9 of Rule 26, sir?
More or less the same. And many advocates, they invoke, you see, both the provisions of Order 26 and Order 39. So
why I ask this question is, sir, only for this reason. As my lord said, my lord, that it amounts, it should not be for the collection of evidence
Hmm.
or for any other reason.
Hmm.
Somebody in particularly in some suit for injunction or some other purpose, if a party makes an application under Art 39 Rule 1 and 2 seeking for some interim injunction or some interim relief,
Hmm.
and if he makes an application under Orders 39 Rule 7 for local inspection,
Hmm.
is it not amounting to collection of
Local
evidence, sir,
inspection, local inspection for what purpose?
in order to say that for example, his case is he has raised the crops and the defendant is coming and causing some inconvenience or trying to destroy the crops, and for that reason if he makes an application for only to see that there is a standing crops, and he requests the court for appointment of some commission under Order 39 Rule 7, is it not amounting, sir, collection of evidence?
No, I'm not very sure. See, without reference to any of these technicalities, whether you see the standing crop is in existence or not, it can be shown, you see, by taking, you see, the photograph, by see, so many other things. I don't think court commissioner is required to be appointed for such a purpose.
Sir,
One, and two, whether you see he's being obstructed, that is also again a matter of, you see, evidence. Whether you see there is any obstruction which is being caused, no commission can be appointed for such a purpose. Another. Thank you.
Thank you all. I think in the recent times, the powerful or the most valuable aspect of the commissioner's report or the investigation into the factual aspect was found out in the matter of Ram Janmabhoomi, how the commissioner's report played the pinnacle role and virtually twisted and tilted the entire factual matrix of the case, and how it enabled the Constitution bench of the Supreme Court to reach at the most balanced judgment of the century. So therefore, the appointment of the court commissioner, though it may look very innocuous, but the valuable information which a court commissioner can provide to the court is beyond our comprehension sometimes. Therefore, for having come here and thrown light on the subject, and for having given a magnificent lecture on behalf of the entire Daksha family, I convey my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Justice Ashok B. Hinchegiri, sir. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I thank all of you very profusely that you have given your valuable, you see, time to me and given me an opportunity to share, you see, my views on this provision. I wish all of you very, very nice mid-weekend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. That was fantastic. Thank you, sir.